Hello, this is Eric Lasky and my colleague Derek Capper. We're going to present to you about career pathways. We thought about doing this on Zoom, but everybody sort of zoomed out, so we figured let's make a video instead where you can actually see us. So, as we go through this, at Ridgewood High School, we really have two pathways that students can go down. But within each of those pathways, you'll sort of see we have our business and technology and our arts and science pathway. Our business and technology pathway is what we're going to talk about today, because those are more of our CTE, but we also have the arts and science. So you can sort of see, even though we have two pathways, there's a lot of things we have underneath them. And what we found is that many times if our students go into this business pathway, they'll stay in there. They may switch around to some of these. Maybe they start with IT and then they switch to engineering, or maybe they're in business and like the technology. But we notice there's not a lot of crossover where students start over here and want to go into this other one. So a little bit more of our explanation when you sort of look at all the different things we have within arts and science. And Derek's going to show you a little bit, Derek, you want to talk a little bit then about our business and technology pathway, and maybe what the work you do in that?
So I work in the manufacturing, trades, and engineering technology side of that. I teach PLTW engineering here at Ridgewood High School. So in my class, it's an introduction to the engineering design process. We use 3D printers to make jigsaw puzzles. We have a laser engraver that we use to make various products. So the class is really focused on the capstone project, which is solving a real world problem and creating a product that solves that problem that students have identified.
And one of the nice things is Derek teaches Project Lead the Way to our freshmen, which a lot of times that class is sort of an introduction class to the manufacturing, but it also helps with the, information technology as well. So those are the pathways that we have here at Ridgewood. But we want to break down the steps that we expect our students to go through in order to get a career pathway endorsement. So in order to do that, we really have 4 steps. The first step is developing that individual learning plan. What classes should the students be taking? What math level do they need in that pathway? We also have our career exploration, which we're going to go through, our labor market information. There's certain jobs we do not want to train our students for. If the job's going to only pay $15, $18 an hour, that's probably not a good career. So we look at the labor market information. Then there's also jobs that may pay high. Like, yeah, you want to be an actor, but are there jobs out there? Are you going to be able to become an actor? Are you going to make that? So we look at the labor market information to figure out what are some on-demand occupations, and then also what are the salaries for those. And then our 4th step, which we'll probably get a little bit more in depth, is in Illinois, in order to get this post-secondary program, students have to must create at least 2 dual credit classes. They'll take related electives. They must make sure that they get transitional math or English support. So for example, if there's a pathway where they have to take a college level math class, we want to make sure that when they go to college, they are qualified and ready to take that and don't have to take remedial courses. And then we have professional learning experiences, which would include career exploration, team-based challenges, and career development. And we'll go through each of those steps. And this, that's in Illinois. This has been this was created 3 years ago, where if students can complete these things, they can actually get an endorsement on their diploma. So working with our staff, and as we go through these steps, this may make a little more sense, but I want to talk about the process. So this was not like, okay, just the CE department, you guys are going to work on these career pathways. It was actually the entire school. And we dedicated we have weekly meetings, and once a month we dedicate these weekly meetings to work on our career pathways. So teachers actually signed up for which endorsement area they were passionate about. They then selected what are the dual credit options, because students need to take 2 dual credit classes in each of those courses, and they spent one of the months was dedicated to looking at those. And then also, what are other related courses? For example, like in business, it's probably really good to be bilingual. So maybe an elective would be taking Spanish. We also offer Italian here. And then each of the electives we asked to implement a team-based challenge. So you're probably like, what is a team-based challenge? Well, level 1 like team-based challenge, I think like the best one would be like if you're in DECA and you're competing against other schools as a team. But sometimes some of our pathways don't necessarily have that club. So we also want them to have a challenge that they can do within the class. And then they looked at how do we get those students to work-based learning, which probably the most difficult part is getting them 60 hours work-based learning during an endorsement. And then what we have, after all this planning we've done, now in November, we're gonna actually have our career pathway exploration that we share out to students, and we start recruiting students to be in these different pathways. So freshman year is we call that our exploration year. And in our exploration year, students complete Zello, which is like a career survey, which has a matchmaker, personality style, learning style, and based on all that, these are possible career options that would be good fit for you. Then we actually tie that into English. So in English, they actually have a project where they take that data, they actually look at the job outlooks, they look at what their salaries can be, what is the job description? Does this job really look like something you want to do? And then what is a typical work week? Right? For example, if you want to be in culinary arts, you're probably going to be working on weekends, you're going to be working in the evenings. Is that a schedule that you'd like to have? And finally, we do a Triton visit. We go to our community college and they could actually pick an area they're interested in, and then they get to explore more careers and what the education part of that is. This is really good for like our healthcare. We have an amazing healthcare program at Triton College, and the students can actually see all the different job opportunities that could be there, and then the options as far as post-secondary go. Sophomore year, we do a lot of the same things. We want the students to look a little bit more about, all right, go take an elective now in your pathway. Is this something you're still interested in? And we do another English project as well, where they revisit what their freshman year and say, all right, is this career still something I'm interested in? What is now the education that's required? What are the grades that are required to get into that education program? And are you on track? So that's our two career explorations we really do freshman and sophomore years. Junior year, taking another elective in that pathway. And then we really want to focus on exit points. Okay? Do you just need a certification in your pathway? Do you need 2-year, 4-year? Do you need a graduate degree? Understanding what is needed for post-secondary placement. So once again, we go back and look at the grades, look at the classes. Are you taking the correct classes? To go to this college, you need 2 years of foreign language. Do you have that? And then we want to continue with our team-based challenges in all our electives. Senior year, it's time to start applying. What is your post-secondary program? And we don't just say applying for college. It could be going to the union, applying to get in there. It could be getting into a certification program, right? But it could also be, all right, you're gonna go to a 4-year, but you also gotta be realizing if this pathway, you also need to go to graduate school. And then we have them prepare and start applying for that. And hopefully go out and get some internships to see if they're interested in those. Okay. A couple of our pathways that we have developed and actually already going is we have our education pathway, and we partner with Northeastern. And in that pathway, students will do, once again, we've talked about the career exploration as a freshman and sophomore year. And then junior year, they actually will then take college classes in education, and then senior year, they take them as well. And in our introduction to methodologies, students actually will go out now and they'll actually start getting in the classrooms and getting that work-based learning experience in order to earn a career endorsement. And when they do that, students will just figure out that we ask them to observe early childhood, elementary, middle school, and high school, along with special ed. Until they get those experiences, they might not know what would be a good fit as far as what type of school they want to teach. And then we also ask them to look at some of the other roles besides just teaching that go into school, because those are possible career options as well. Okay. The nice thing is about this, the students actually receive 6 hours of observation for this through the university that will transfer to their colleges. So when they go to a teacher program, they already have some of their observation hours done. Okay. So I'm gonna let, Derek's gonna talk a little about manufacturing. So we identify students that would be interested in the manufacturing program through our Zello, When they take Project Lead the Way with Derek, and then also a lot of those students will take our Geometry Construction. But Derek will tell you a little bit about how they get trained and how they get their internships.
So we've partnered with a group of manufacturers. They have a training facility in the suburbs here. So they go to TMA, I believe twice a week, every Tuesday, Thursday afternoon, and they get trained on the actual machinery. And by the end of that, I believe, don't they get certified in order to use like CNC machine lathes, those types of things. And then we have an internship after they complete that. We have a couple local manufacturers like QCC that then host students.
And actually getting your NIM certification, really, after their students get that and they do their internships, when they graduate, they get offered full-time jobs with benefits with really good pay. So they could actually be making $70,000, $80,000 right after high school. And the companies that hire them will pay for their education. So if they want to continue on with their education, they can have that. So that's a really, if you talk about getting a job right out of high school, that's a pretty good one. Our next pathway is our computer science pathway. So with the computer science pathway, we have multiple options for students. We have what we call as a CS for all program. And we recruit students in 8th grade and say, instead of fill out your schedule and let's see if we have room for an elective in computer science, we do just the opposite. We recruit students and say, if you want to be in this computer science, this all-in program, we are going to first make sure you have your computer science classes, and then we'll put the rest of the classes into your schedule. So we're saying the priority number one is you get a computer science class each year, 4 years. And you can sort of see the pathway is our students will normally take like an intro to computer programming. Okay, those students will also be in a second computer science class their freshman year. And then they'll go on to like an AP computer science. We have Project Lead the Way cybersecurity. And then our goal is to get them internships by their senior year. And once again, able to earn their pathway. And these are dual credits. We're fortunate to have a computer science teacher with a master's in computer science. If students complete that, we did have a couple students complete it, they are able to then go into, we have some partnerships with our local businesses. These two students went into a program where they had 2 years at Wright College where they took 20 courses over those 2 years. And while they took those 20 courses, they were paid for by a Chicago-based employer who also paid them for 20 hours a week of work. So they're making money and going to school for free. Okay? Once they finish the first 2 years, candidates must agree though, they'll work for another 2 years. So in the end, they have 4 years work experience, they have their 2-year degree, all their certifications paid for, okay? And now they get out debt-free and have the experience that companies are gonna want in order to hire them. So these students will probably be making 6 figures or more after they finish this program at Wright College. So, and then Derek's going to talk a little bit about our construction program. So, once again, it sort of starts with him, but these are some of the courses.
So in their sophomore year, students have the option of taking GIC, which is Geometry in Construction. In that class, they build a park, home, sheds, so a lot of real world experience, get a lot of experience putting up drywall and studs, that sort of thing. And then we also have computer aided design that I teach, as well as architecture. We have an intro to business class. Woodworking, we have several classes on woodworking as well.
So students must, and the nice thing is most of those classes are dual credit. So students have a couple bit of an options of where they go. And the one thing that you might have noticed in that slide too is intro to business and marketing. Because you realize in construction, you may want to have your own construction company, or you may find that niche where you want to have your own business. So it's important to have that as well for some of our students and options. And then some students may want to be more of a supervisor or higher up in the construction company. So we like to make sure to train them. And you can sort of see this isn't all our students in class, but in our geometry construction, this is what they started with, just the base, and then they build this up, and eventually this is what the finished product was. And the students learn their geometry through building the house. So you've probably seen this program from others, but talk about real world learning. This is about as good as it gets. Finally, we have our business pathway. So once again, all these business classes are dual credit. So we start with our intro to business, and then they could actually move on either to marketing, or they can stay in there and they can do entrepreneurship. Our computer concept dual credit, that's a lot of the Microsoft products and the Google products that will help you in a business with communication and spreadsheets. So we realize that's probably an important skill for students to have if they're in that pathway. Nice thing about our school, we are right outside of Chicago. So you can sort of see in our entrepreneur class, this is actually our Algebra 2 and business class, and the students have a little bit more time in that class, and they create their own businesses. And a lot of them will do t-shirt businesses, because we have presses. Some will pick some other business. One actually did a food business. One of the group members was passionate about food. Would always cook desserts, so they opened up their own dessert shop. And actually, that one student, as she went to college, she kept that open and used that to make money. We do have a lot of guest speakers. I'm not sure if you guys know who this is. This is actually the owner of Eli's Cheesecake, which is about a mile from our school. He was actually responsible for making President Obama's 50th birthday cake. So, through Eli's. So, what is, so we talked a little about what we've done and sort of where we're going. We have some pathways in place. We've had some students complete those pathways and earn their endorsements. But what we are now working on is we are creating a flexible schedule. Okay, and we actually created it. We are using it this year, so that our goal is once again get students outside the building, give them experiences, and letting them pick what they need. So giving them some time where they choose their schedule on a daily basis. So this year, right now, students get to pick 1 hour every day. They sign up for what they need. It could be extra math help. It could be going and doing some construction. It could be doing something that has nothing to do with class in. Maybe they want to get more experience in robotics. So that's what we mean by flexible schedule. We want to put more of the core content in a career-focused problem-based learning. Right now we have geometry construction. Well, we want to add an English and a science component to that. So now they're actually getting 4 credits around that project. So in building that house, there's so much you need to read about guidelines, regulations, blueprints. And there's a lot you can write about that as well. And then like the science credit would actually be like renewable energy. So we want to put that in there, and they can actually work on the renewable energy and sort of learn how motors and other things work. We, for students that maybe are not as focused on some of these careers, we would like them to be either so we want either one or two things. Either all students earn a credential in a pathway, or earn your associate's degree with all the dual credits we offer. And then we, once again, spend more time learning outside of school. We feel like those experiences that students get outside of school is really going to help as they leave us to make sure, are they committed to whatever their post-secondary program is? Or is that experience going to show them, no, I don't think that's the one we want. Let's do something different. And then at the end, when our students graduate, they will graduate by defense, and they'll talk about did they learn at Ridgewood? How are they prepared now as they leave Ridgewood for a career or for college? And once again, our philosophy is always we need to prepare students for careers, because eventually everybody goes into a career. It could be after high school, it could be after 4-year college, it could be after graduate school, but eventually everybody needs to be prepared for a career. If you are looking to start pathways in your school, okay, we always suggest start with one pathway. Okay, what pathway maybe you have lined up right now where students can graduate with some sort of credential? Use clubs and activities for your team-based challenges. That's really, in Illinois, I know that's important, I'm not sure in other states, but having those chances for students to get the authentic learning experiences where they have to use collaboration, they have to work together to achieve something, that would be something really good for students to have, especially as they go and apply, something they can talk about in application. We look to hire teachers that have work experience. Okay? Sometimes, they went in, worked in some industry, and they realize, wait, that's really not for me. Now as they come in with their teaching, they actually can talk about what they experience, and they have a lot more knowledge on what students need to know before they get out there. And the final thing is pathways are for college-bound students. Our engineers, they should be in the engineering pathway. They should learn about that. and get some good experience before they move on to college. Same thing with our business. Get more experience, and that way, even when you go on to college, you might have a better idea of what type of business classes you want to take, and maybe what jobs are out there. Okay. So we know that this is not a live session, but we are available for questions. And I also want to show you a little bit about our website. So if you want to look more about our pathway work, you'll be able to find that. So as I take this in, this website is d234.org. Okay. And if you look, we have right here college and careers. We have all this information that we share with you. You can find that right there. So under college and careers, you're going to see our PACE framework, which shows sort of like our plan, and it goes all the way back into our grade schools, even though we're only a high school district. And it shows our plan each year of how we want the students to progress. We do have our graduation competencies, and that's nice. We are a competency-based school. Our transitional English and math, because once again, we want to make sure that students, if they need those classes, like for example, in our automotive pathway, students don't necessarily need to take an English class, but they do have to take a college level math class. And then you can see our college and career pathway endorsements, and then our career pathways. So the information we shared with you, okay, about our steps, that's all right here on the website. So you can find it all right there. You can even see at the bottom, this actually has students who have earned the career endorsements through Illinois State Board of Ed. These actually were the very first students in Illinois to earn this on their diploma. Other students have since joined in 2021 class with other schools. So, and then if you look at our career pathways, okay, if you click on any of these, like we talked a little bit about the work that our students did, our teachers did throughout the year. We put all their work on here. So for example, if you click on information technology, the work our teachers did, the dual credits you need, you get at least 2 of them. Here are some work-based learning opportunities that we're working on, and then these will be your team-based challenges. So we have them for each of these, so you can click on whichever one if you want to look at business and finance. Once again, we got our dual credit. These are our work-based learning opportunities. It's nice in the business one, there's so many more opportunities. And then you have your team-based challenges that are run throughout our electives. So, if you're interested in anything else, we do have our PACE framework. Feel free to click through so you can sort of see what is our progression that we want students to do each year to prepare them to do college and career. And then finally our graduation competencies. These are the competencies we want every student to graduate with. And once again, we always say the difference is, like if you're taking a math class, we're going to be grading you on these things or assessing you on these things and reporting them out, because we feel like these are the skills that every student needs to graduate along with the learning knowledge. So, all right, that is all we have for you. You have our website. If you have any questions, please reach out. Once again, it's Eric Lasky or Derek Kappert. So, thank you guys for your time.